Hi writers, I'm so happy to see you today. I hope you are doing well. Today I wanted to share with you a strategy that good writers do for revision. Revision means that you're going to make changes in the words that you wrote in your paper. Not so much editing for and punctuation or capital letters or spelling. So these are actual changes that you have in your ideas and the words that you use to convey those ideas to your reader. And so our strategy today is called Verbs That Match the Meaning. And it's a strategy where we look at the action verbs. Remember, action verbs are the words of things that you can do, like jumping, talking, singing, hopping. Those are all action verbs, things that you can do. So we're going to look at the action verbs to make your writing clear, exact, and precise. And this is an important strategy for a writer because action verbs make the writing more interesting to read. And so when you have these exact or precise action verbs, the reader is able to create a more detailed mind movie when they're reading your writing. And it makes it more interesting, and so they enjoy your writing more, and they want to keep reading. And that's our goal. We want our readers to enjoy our writing and to keep reading. So here's how we do the strategy. Here's how it works. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find all of our action verbs in our writing. Remember, the action verbs are the words of things that you can do. When we find them, we're going to think about if that verb is the exact word that we wanted to use that describes the action that we're thinking about in our story. So let's say maybe I would use the word run, but really what I was doing is galloping. So it's it kind of means the same thing, but a little bit different. One gives you a better picture of the movement that's going on. Once we think about some of those words, once we find those words, we're going to think about some of the other action verbs that could mean the same thing or that are similar in the same thing. This is a great opportunity to use a thesaurus. Remember, a thesaurus is that resource that gives you other words that mean the same thing. And so then once we list all of our verbs that we like that mean similar things, we're going to pick the one that best fits the action that we want the reader to get that mind movie for, and we're going to rewrite the sentence with that new action verb. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is I've got a couple examples to show you. So the first sentence is, I stood on the edge of the diving board looking around. So when I'm looking at my sentence, my action verb is stood and looking around. It's a phrase actually. Looking is my verb. So I'm going to think about the word stood. So I'm standing on the edge of the diving board. So when I think about being on the edge of the diving board, I am standing, but there's some better words for that. I think about kind of like gripping on with my feet to hold on because I'm a little bit nervous about jumping in. And it reminds me of like a bird who's perched on a branch. So maybe I could use the word perch. Or perched because it's past tense. I think about kind of being nervous. So I might be wobbling on the diving board a little bit. So I can use the word wobbled. Sometimes I bounce on the diving board to kind of get a little bit of a bounce to myself so I can get a higher jump. So I've bounced. So those are some other action verbs that kind of mean the same thing as stood, but they're a little bit more exact of what is actually happening on the diving board. So when I wrote this sentence about my experience about going off the diving board for the very first time, I wasn't very brave, so I wasn't bouncing. I was kind of nervous, so I was kind of wobbling and I was kind of perched. But really I want the reader to feel that nervousness of as I'm gripping on to the diving board. So I like the word perched the best. So I think that's the word I'm going to use to replace the word stood when I go to make my revision and my rewrite of my sentence. I'm going to use the word perched. So I perched on the edge of the diving board looking around. So I wasn't really looking around like for fun. I was kind of searching for or surveying the pool in front of me because I didn't want to dive into somebody. So I think I like the word survey that I just said. So I'm going to put survey. And I also like the word searched. I think search makes me feel as though I'm looking for something, and I wasn't really looking for something, but I was kind of taking it all in to make sure that it was safe for me to dive. So I think the word survey is a better fit for that, for what I want to say. So I'm going to use the word survey. So I perched on the edge of the diving board. Let's see, I have to make the right tense. So surveying, and I need to get rid of the word around. So surveying maybe the water below. So that's going to be my new sentence when I go to rewrite my second draft. Okay? Here is a second sentence. It's not from the same story. I have the sun shone in my eyes, and the splash of the fish jumping in and out of the water filled my ears. So my verbs, my action verbs, are shown and jumping and filled. So the sun shone in my eyes. That's word shone is a pretty good verb. But it wasn't really like shining. It was like blinding me, because it was kind of reflecting off the water. So I'm going to write, I think so, blind. I like the word blinded. I don't think I'm going to think about any other words. Blinded is the word I want to use. So the sun blinded. The sun blinded in my eyes. Doesn't sound right. Sometimes when we make revisions, we make changes to our words, we have to change some of the other words in the sentence so that it sounds right. I'm going to go back and fix this. So the sun blinded me. Maybe blinded me in my eyes. I feel like that's redundant because how else, your eyes are where you would go blind. So maybe the sun blinded me, and I can get rid of in my eyes. And the splash of the fish jumping in and out of the water filled my ears. Well, jumping. They were jumping, but it wasn't like they were going up and down like that. They kind of went up and they kind of like flipped, like curved kind of. I like the word flipped. I use flipped, I use turned. Let's see. Flipped, turned. Let's see, the splash of the fish jumping, or I wrote the wrong tense, flipping or turning in and out of the water filled my ears. I think I like the word flipping. I could see them kind of flipping over and then going down. So the splash of the fish flipping in and out of the water filled my ears. I don't like the word filled because it's not really filling my ears. I don't know what other kind of word I would use. Maybe you can put the video on pause and turn and talk to your partner and see if you can come up with a word that would replace the word filled. What word would you like to see in that sentence? I'll wait. Did you think of one? I thought of roared and tingled and sounded and echoed. I really don't like, none of those are really my favorite. I think echoed is probably my most favorite out of all that. But I think for this, maybe when I go back to rewrite my next draft, I might underline that word and come back to it again. Maybe I might look in the thesaurus, it's a hard word to say, in the thesaurus and see if I can find an even better word that really matches that meaning. Or maybe I might just need to rewrite that sentence. I don't know. But for right now, I would go with the word echoed. So the new sentence, after we make our revisions, would read, the sun blinded me and the splash of the fish flipping in and out of the water echoed, gotta write the word in my ears. What do you think? Pretty good, I think. Now it's your turn. Go back to one of your writings and see if you can make some revisions using more exact and precise action verbs. Good luck. I'll see you next time.